Last week, I've heard a sad but interesting story from a customer who propagated her more than 2 meters long lush chain of hearts for her daughter's wedding. The plan was to make wedding favors in little hanging pots, and while the favors were a success, the decade-year-old hearts never recovered as they were cut right back. Repotting and fertilizing did not work, and only a few small strings have grown out of the tubers. One of the main appeals of succulents is how easy they are to propagate. Anyone can do it, and you don't really need any growth hormones or expensive setups. If you're an avid propagator, you may have noticed taking too many cuttings or propagating the same plants year on year can result in poorer growth. In this video, we'll have a look at how over-propagating can happen, which plants are most at risk, and what are the consequences. Before we proceed, please keep in mind that the following will not apply to absolutely everyone and every succulent. Chances are most of you will not need to worry about over-propagating. If you only propagate here or there and don't strip plants back year on year, you should be fine. However, in my opinion, it is good to be aware of these things even if you only do a bit of propagating. Propagating can have a negative impact on the mother plant and the new plants being created when you take too much and if you propagate the same plant over and over. Say you have an echeveria like this. It produces offsets every year and they get taken off and propagated. The first couple of years, offsets and the mother plant should be doing fine, but after year 3 or 4, the mother may not produce as many offsets and the ones that do get produced can be inferior. This scenario doesn't always play out, but is a real possibility. So much so that growers often don't propagate plants like these for many years. Personally, I discontinue using plants for propagation as soon as I notice the offspring or cuttings taking longer to root or grow. And I also take note of the mother. Once offset production starts waning or they grow smaller or slower, the plant goes into retirement. Another way overpropagation can happen is when too many cuttings are taken from the mother plant. When propagating succulents like this, I often only take about 10 to 20% so the plant can recover easily. While many succulents will recover even if you take 80%, they may not come back as strong or lush, and some varieties will struggle to grow back altogether. I'm always super careful with succulents such as Cotyledon tomentosa, as too much trim is almost guaranteed to ruin a nice lush plant. Overpropagation doesn't usually happen with leaves unless you strip the plant right off. In general, it's fine to propagate leaves for many years as long as the plant is healthy. In my experience, the plants most at risk are those that grow slow and don't produce many offsets. Because they don't have much propagating material, people tend to strip them off, not leaving enough for the plant to recover. This in itself can create inferior offsets next season. The faster growing robust succulents tend to fare much better when propagated over and over, even when they get chopped back hard. Another group of plants that can easily be overpropagated are young and poorly established ones. Mature plants are much more likely to recover from being cut back, and offset-producing succulents will grow bigger, stronger offsets. In my opinion, the worst consequence of overpropagating is producing inferior, weak plants. These can be more prone to disease and death. If you're propagating for yourself, it's not that much of a problem, though the wasted time and watching the plant struggle can be annoying. But if you're selling, you can be creating generations of poorly bred plants which will impact many others. For me, making sure the crop is strong and healthy is important as I sell my plants. Any plants that look weak or don't grow well are discarded. The most common consequences of overpropagation are slow growth in plants that are usually vigorous, frequent diebacks, poor offset production, higher susceptibility to pest and disease, poor tolerance to change in growing conditions. As I said earlier, not everyone propagating is going to encounter these problems. You may be propagating the same plant for years without an issue. Having said that, the customer that unknowingly ruined her chain of hearts wishes she knew. And on that note, it's time to end. I hope this video was useful, and to learn more about succulents, hit the subscribe button or go to our website. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.